Okay, so now it's time to start working with our functions.js. Let's start with document.ready function and two curly braces, and in between we first check if our tag, our subnavigation mnv ul exists by typing dot length is more than 0, and if it is, then first thing we want to hide our subnavigation when page loads. Hide. If we save it, if we go to our page, you can see it's still showing here, but if we refresh, now it's gone. That's fine. So we've hidden our subnavigation. Now obviously we want to show it whenever we mouse over there, the main button. So again, ul this time actually it's going to be li, mnv li. So if we mouse hover the li tag in the main navigation, then we want the function to be executed. Okay, side of this function, we want, first of all, we're going to define the variable active, and we will assign true or false depending on whether the current button has active class assigned to it. So let's say if we clicked on the About Us button, now this button has active class, so we need to first check whether this button had already active class assigned. So then when we mouse over this and we mouse over the subnavigation, the button will become active, but when we leave the subnavigation on the main button, if it wasn't active, it will become inactive again. If it was active, it will stay active. So we do it by simply typing $sign and in the parentheses this, in the bracket, sorry, has class act. So you basically the result. If it has class assigned to it, it will return true. Otherwise, it would return false. So this value will be stored inside of this active variable. Okay, so now we check if active, which means if the button has class active assigned to it, then we want to make this add class had to indicate that it had class assigned to it. Let's get rid of the spaces. And what it does basically, if it has active already assigned to the button, it will also add class had to it dynamically. So now else, if it didn't, then we will make sure that this add class act. So it will actually, if it didn't have active, then it will add active class to it, to the main button. Okay, and now this dot find ul, which means inside of this li tag, find ul tag, which is our subnavigation. Now stop with two true parameters to make sure that it doesn't repeat, the queue is cleared, and so on. You can check on stop function in jQuery documentation. Then fade in effect, and we want it to fade fast. You can use slide down, slide up, or whatever effects. For the purpose of this video, we will simply use fading effect. Okay, and then after the curly brace, this function, we create another function which will be executed once the mouse is going away. So hover and out. So when it's going out, we will check if this dot has class had, which means if, obviously it's going to have class had if it had initially class active assigned to it. So if it has class had, then we want to this dot remove class had. You want to get rid of this head class because obviously it doesn't do us any good. And else, sorry, actually wrong, because obviously it's asking if it's not, because it's got exclamation mark. If it didn't have class head assigned to it, then remove class active, which is act. Otherwise, remove class head and remove class active assigned to it as it was initially. And if we copy this find UL after that and paste it after that, only this time we will fade out. So this find UL stop, true, fade out fast. So that's basically everything, and that should do the trick. If we go to our page, if we refresh the page, if we mouse hover, now you can see the navigation is displaying. The button is active because it was initially active. When we mouse, we move our mouse out, it still becomes active. It keeps active. Now if we click on welcome and go to our about us, if we mouse over the sub navigation, you can see the main button is still active, and when we take our mouse away, the button becomes inactive. So that's basically everything in this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll speak to you later.